All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 663 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And maybe the Atlanta Falcons need to pass a little bit more. Maybe they need to use their playmakers a little bit more. That's on the perimeter of the offense. Drake London and Kyle Pitts should get more targets. Scotty Miller should be used in the slot. Jonnu Smith should be another option if Kyle Pitts is a decoy. Maybe. But to be honest with you, it's hard to criticize what the Falcons are doing. And I'm going to explain in this episode. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I am also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And the Falcons right now, they look pretty smart. I'm not going to lie. I like what Coach Arthur Smith has done. I like what the team has done. My only criticism, like I said in the game before, on the episode in the last game, when I talked about the Falcons, is that they could really use more of their skilled players that are on the outside. Like I said, it's kind of mind-boggling, but to be honest, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it ain't broke, get better at it. If this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I could be found on X at VF Baller, and the website is firstandframerates.com. I've been thinking about this for the past 6 or 7 hours prior to me doing the show. And I've been wondering, like, what the Falcons are doing. Is it winnable? Is it sustainable? And then I started to think, like, last year, they did the same thing last year and won 7 games, which, to be honest, they should have won like 3 or 4. They have a complete team now, in my opinion. I think they have a much better team now. The defense looks really good. The running game is on point. You had a little bit of hiccups on the offensive line. And the quarterback, I think the quarterback is being limited, but he was very efficient, 15 to 18. For 116 yards. Or I think it was 118. I don't know. But we need to up that up to about 25 times a game, in my opinion. If we throw the ball 25 to 30 times a game, and if he's that efficient, we're unbeatable. But like I said, it's very hard to criticize this team. When you look at the rest of the schedule, and I don't like to, I know there aren't, and I don't necessarily like to look too far ahead. But in this instance, if you look at this team's schedule, they're not playing an elite quarterback at all this year. There's not one elite quarterback on the schedule for the Atlanta Falcons. Aaron Rodgers went down with the Achilles. So December 3rd is a wash. You're going to be playing against Zach Wilson if he stays healthy. You look at the rest of this schedule, you got you got Trevor Lawrence. Outside of that, everybody else is a work in progress, or they're just okay. So as far as us getting in shootouts with teams, it's probably not going to happen. So when I look at this, not only right now it's hard to criticize, this could possibly be sustainable for the rest of the year. Does that mean that they'll be, world beaters when it gets to the playoffs? Probably not. Quarterback play is going to be much better in the playoffs, so that's something you have to worry about. But one game at a time, you're going against Jordan Love, pretty much almost in a similar situation that the Panthers were in. Panthers got a pretty good defense, got a pretty good running game. Quarterback is so. You can find ways to confuse him as well, just like you did Bryce Young, and possibly get some turnovers in the passing game. I don't think that their defense is good enough, but I don't think they're going to stop our offensive line in our running game. And this is one of those situations where you may want to get Desmond Ridder the ball a little bit more so he can distribute the ball more. You may want to do that because I think that even with the way that the Green Bay plays, they still can put up numbers. But you're not going to be in a situation where the quarterback is actually going to be the one that actually be the driving force. There are going to be other playmakers that make it easy for him. Like, in other words, a lot of stuff went their way when they played against the Bears. I mean, albeit it's the Bears, but a lot of things went their way for them to put up those type of numbers. I don't think our offense is going to make those type of mistakes that the Bears did. I don't think our defense is going to be that lax for them to put up the numbers that they did. So once again, this defense is built to have teams between 10 and 20 points a game. I mean, it's been like that for the past almost 2 years now. This team defensively been holding teams down anywhere between, 14 to 20 points. And if we can get our way to score 21 or better, we have an excellent chance to win this game. This is one of the reasons why I say you give us another reason, another avenue to score points, albeit, Desmond Ridder has been throwing the ball pretty well. You let him throw, let's say, double the numbers from 15 to 8, from 18 times a game to, 30 times a game. And if he completes 25 of those passes, you're talking about a totally different team where, like I said, this team is damn near unbeatable. And I said that with one game this year, but I've been saying that since last year. You get better quarterback play out of Mariota, we win at least. We went 7-10 last year. You get better play out of Mariota, you're probably going to win 12 to 13 games. Yeah, and I'm not joking, because a lot of those games that we lost were like, 6 points or less? Better quarterback play erases that. They erases the 6 points deficit or the 3 point deficit or the goal line problem that we had against the Commanders. It ends all of that. So this is why I said it's hard to criticize what this team has done, but when you really look at what they can do or what they are doing, this team could go. This team could go on a run. I'm just looking at the schedule. This team could really go on a run, especially after what you've seen what these other teams are doing. And I'm not going to get into too far in the weeds, but I'm just going to say the next 4 games that we have. We play Green Bay. Then we go to Detroit and play the Lions, which that may be one of the tougher games because the Lions are actually pretty good. The Jaguars in London, which I don't know about that game. That may be more of a push, more of a even game than we think. And then you got the Texans. It's a possibility that we could walk away from this 4-1 or 5-0 easily. Easily. Because like I said, I don't think none of the quarterbacks on this team, I don't think any of the defenses on this team could really hold down what the Falcons could do. I don't think any of the offenses on this team could really stop what this defense can do. If you get the defense that we got in the second half of this game against the Panthers, if you get that second half defense, the Packers, Lions, Jaguars, or the Texans, they have no shot. They have no shot. You can't have a defense like we had in the second quarter with a running game that we had all game. It's very hard to beat this team. And then, like I said, you bring the factor of Desmond Ridder actually being, unleashed to throw the ball more efficiently or get the ball to more of your playmakers. I mean, I don't know how much more efficient can you get when you're talking about, 15 to 18. I mean, I don't know, how much more efficient can you get, but let's say if he goes, like I said, 22 or 25, if he goes 23 or 27, he throws for 240 yards. I mean, he's just, you're looking at a totally different game where the Falcons could have beat the Panthers by 3 touchdowns, probably 4. So when you're looking at what's going on here, Arthur Smith is this week you haven't heard much about what the pundits or the critics or what they've been saying about the Falcons in the past. You haven't heard much of that this year. You haven't heard much. No, I ain't gonna say this year. You haven't heard much of that this week. It's been very, very quiet on how they feel about the Falcons. Yes, I get it. If you want to criticize this team, you could say Desmond Ridder could throw the ball more, but it's very hard to go against, 15 to 18 and a touchdown and no interceptions. It's hard to go against that. I mean, regardless, I would like to see the ball thrown more myself, but it's when you really look at it, it's really hard to it's really hard to go against it because it's a winning formula. I said this in episode 661. They played a masterful game. They drew up a really good game against the Panthers. And look, if Brian Burns didn't torture Caleb McGarry the first part of the game, this would have been an absolutely perfect game. Because there wouldn't have been no crazy pass by Desmond Ridder to throw the ball to himself. It wouldn't have been any sack. It wouldn't have been that much pressure on him. It would have been a really good looking game that not many people can really talk about. And they really can't talk about it now, but this is just what I'm saying. Is outside of that, it's very hard to look at this game and like, oh, I don't like what I saw. I mean, a lot of us are kind of spoiled with Matt Ryan throwing for 336. You know what I mean? And I get it. But when you look at what's going on here, you only can tip your hat, to be honest. I mean, that's all that you can really do, just tip your hat to what we see here. And you look at the rest of the schedule. If you're looking at it, I'm just going to go with the next 4 games. The Falcons could be undefeated. And I'm not joking when I say that. I mean, you got you got basically one away game the next 4 games, and that's the one in Detroit. The London game is not even, I think it's just more of a neutral site. It's not a home or away advantage. Maybe some people in London will root for us. I don't know. But then when you come back home, you're playing against the Texans, and then you're playing against the Commanders. I mean, you're really looking at the next 4 games that are very, very winnable. And now you're talking about a team that's 5-0 ahead of the division, and probably talking about one of the top teams in the NFC behind the 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, and the Eagles. And with that being said, you don't even know what type of team you got with them. You don't even know what type of team you got with the Falcons, to be honest. I mean, the only thing I know out of all these other teams, the Falcons have been consistently doing this for the past 2.5 years. This mantra, this game plan that they've been doing it for 2.5 years. Mariota has been throwing for 107 yards. We just didn't have the defense to hold anybody down. Now you got Jesse Bates and company, you got that front 7. You got a defense that actually can hold teams to 10, 11, 12, 15 points. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see how this plays out. But right now, what really can you say? Let me know in the comment section. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Am I tripping? Is it a lot to talk about? Would you like to see Desmond Ridder throw the ball more? Do you want to see Desmond Ridder benched? Do you want to see Taylor Heineke out there? What about Logan Woodside? I'm good with what I see so far. And with the criticism I do have, it really don't seem as valid right now because it is a winning formula. And if they throw the ball maybe 10 more times a game, I really believe that this team is unbeatable. I don't think nobody could beat them. Not with the weapons you have and not with the defense that you have. It's very difficult to beat this team at this point. As of right now, Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot are looking really good when it comes to personnel and who they brought in, because this team is actually looking damn good right now. I could be found on Anchor and Spotify, also on Apple and Google Podcasts. Follow me on Twitter or X at VFBaller. And the website is firstandprairies.com. Go over there and check out the website. Hopefully you guys will subscribe to the podcast and or donate and support the show. All right, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys for all the things that you've done, all the numbers, all the listening, all the sharing, all the watching. I really appreciate it. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Y'all be blessed. Peace.